think we're on, Steph.
Hi.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. This is the last episode that we're doing with Steph. And it is about, the deep, dark secret. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'll do is I'll start off by doing a reading. Steph's doing a book. So, what I want to see is, I just want to be able to read your book when this is all finished, because I would find this so incredibly fascinating in your life. For someone so young, that you've crammed so much into such a young life. And the fact that you've come out the other side, because this is what this show's all about, is helping people that have gone through adversity in their life and they've come out the other side with a message of hope to others. To, never give up, and make sure that you tell someone or share the load or get help. All those lovely messages that, a lot of the participants that have been guests on my show, I just find you quite incredible as a young woman. So I wanted to say that on air and I'm sure everyone will be saying the same thing. Like, all those comments will be just pounding in, and you'll have time to look at them tomorrow. And there's one thing that I know we're having conversation prior to us coming on tonight, and that you were saying that you'd only just realised all the people that have been in contact with you, because you didn't know about these messages, and suddenly you've gone in to look at all your messages, and there's just streams and streams of people that have been in contact with you.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's pretty amazing.
It would be overwhelming. I can only imagine, what was your thought when you saw that?
Oh, well, sort of after a video upload of me sitting on the couch and talking with you, I sort of go away from Facebook for a while, because I'm just, saying everything about myself, and I get a little bit shy after it. So in my Messenger app, there was all these requests of people that aren't friends with me on Facebook to write to me. And I saw all these notifications down the bottom and went in, and it was just heaps of messages of people with, people that I know, people that I don't know, reaching out and saying that they felt similar things, or that they know someone that's in a bad situation with drugs, and how proud they are of me and how amazing that they think I am. And that's, it's weird to hear that stuff, because I'm just me. I'm nobody exciting or different from anybody. But it was nice to know, and really, really special to know that people are watching that, and that they've come to me for advice, and that I'm able to be there for people. So yeah, it was really cool.
So do you think, your book that you're writing, and that's what I'm going to read from, is your notebook that you had?
Yeah.
Do you think, what do you think is the message in that? Do you think it'll be just like a textbook, or do you think it'll be like a self-help book, or what do you think that the book, why would you be writing that book? For what reason?
I'd be writing it because I enjoy reading, and I remember, I've gone to bookstores before and asked if they have any books written by young drug addicts, and how they have overcome challenges in their lives and gotten sober. And I've never been able to find anything. And throughout my life, I have kept a journal, and I've always, written in a journal when I'm really low, when I was on drugs, or different stages of my life. And I suppose I wanted to write something that targets, a younger generation of people, that I guess my message would be that you're not alone. That's the biggest thing, because I just remember feeling so lonely, and that's the reason that I do these sit-down conversations with you, because it's really hard for me, and I get extremely nervous, as you know, before I sit down and talk about this stuff, because it is hard to talk about. But in writing that book and doing these interviews, I just want to show people that they're not alone, and that you don't have to suffer in silence, and that you can talk to someone, and that other people have gone through similar things. I suppose that's, yeah.
So I mean, for those of you that are just tuning in, there's 3 other parts to this story, so I would encourage you to watch the other 3 parts so that you've been able to follow where we're up to right now. And I was talking to Steph about her deepest, darkest secret, and which is really hard. I know it's hard because you've been suffering all day leading up to this tonight. And I think the best way is that I'll just read a bit out of your book, okay? So I just wanted to show everyone too, I wanted to put this in view because this is Steph's notebook that she had, and it's got Steph-Addict. Now I just want to show you that, and I hope you can get it. Like, this is what I'm reading from. Like, these are her notes. They're just incredible. Like, you know, it's just pain every page. So are these notes that you've written, did you write these in rehab?
No, I wrote all that stuff when I got out of rehab.
So this was after?
Yeah, so this is like with a clear mind, I suppose everything else. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all written.
And I just look at this and I go, the addict still suffering. Like, that's the page. No, what is the story with the scribbling? Is that...
I think that was my nephew, actually.
Oh.
But there are a lot of things that I have written and scribbled out because I suppose everyone's their own worst critic. And it's really hard, like, I don't know, you guys wouldn't know this, but what Kelly reads, like, last week and this week, like, I don't know what she's about to read from this book, and I haven't read this
and I don't
in
tell
ages.
her. And this is about me making that decision as to what part I want to read. Because
yeah, it's scary.
It would be, because it's very confronting for you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you haven't read it before today, you don't know what I'm about to read.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to read this. And that's why I asked you about the book, because you open this section that I'm going to read now talking about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, everyone, put your listening ears on. And I might stumble with a few of the words because, you know,
Messy
I have...
handwriting.
Well, you know, no, I'm not going to say that because that's a negative to you. So I'll say a negative to me, and so I have trouble reading sometimes. All right?
Yep.
Oh, big deep breath.
Yep.
My reasons for writing this book aren't because I think my life has been worse than any other addict's life. My goal is to purely hope the reader can find similarities and understand that there is a joyful journey awaiting them after traumas and heartache. The most difficult times in my life for me to write about are by far all involving my father. He too was an addict. He never found recovery. I have listened to so many women and young girls speak of their own haunting experiences with their fathers, and so I'm putting mine on the table to share with the ones who still feel to blame for what happened to them. My sisters tell me I didn't even get to meet the good father they remember as kids. Being the youngest of 3 girls, I was born and grew up once Dad had already started his addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol. Not all of my memories of him were bad, but with the trauma he put me through, most days I do struggle to remember the good. When I was 14, I moved to the Blue Mountains with my father and much younger stepmum. I was already a different young woman who still to this day wears a lot of black and listens to loads of Marilyn Manson. Do you still listen to Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, love it.
And felt like an outcast. My dad was a sick man, physically and mentally. His drug and alcohol dependency most of the time kept him in front of the TV, passing out with a lit ciggy in his hand, with burn holes in the furniture and his clothes. I don't believe I knew the extent of Dad's illness then. I always turned a blind eye, as from my knowledge, he somehow held down a job managing a hotel and had a good marriage. Without noticing, all of a sudden, his partner and him were apart a lot, and Dad said he was too sick to work. His wife left him for a man she met online, and quickly we were packing up and they were separating. My dad and I moved into his parents' back to Newey, and I only saw my stepmother once or twice after that. As this time of my young life is hard to write about, I only have bits and pieces of memory of them. Everything between my dad and my relationship changed extremely fast. I feel I was taking the place of his wife, and him being so out of it all the time, I'm not really sure he even ever knew the strain and pressure he placed on me. He was a heartbroken and drowning man. He would occasionally ask me to sleep beside him so he could hold someone, and when I would decline, I would stay awake in the next room in fear he would come in one of his drunkard upstates and lay with me. I started sneaking out of the night with friends to be away from the worries. Blurry months went by and Dad and I found a house. I felt like I couldn't leave him. He was blacking out regularly and hurting himself almost every day. So if I wasn't there, who else was going to find him and nurse him back to a stable state? One night I was showering, and when I got out, Dad was looking through the keyhole at me naked. I wrapped my towel around me, laughed it off with awkwardness, and went into my room. Dad was miles into his stack of tablets and a cask or more drunk, and stumbled into my room to sit with me on the bed while I was still in my towel. Someone else possessed my dad that night to touch me, and after throwing him to the ground off me, he angrily asked what I did. What for was I terrified, and told him to get out. He kept a routine of asking me to lay in his lap and sleep with him so he wasn't alone. I don't know why I stayed up there after that. I guess I loved and hated him. On my sister's 21st birthday, he told me he had cancer and didn't have long to live. He made me promise to not tell anyone. Soon I took on the role of his carer, bathing and showering and dressing him. Tagging along once a week to hospital visits, where he would take me into the church chapel and sing to me and play the organ, telling me this could be the last time he sings to me. My dad had the voice of an angel, but he had traits of the devil. I worked in a bakery, giving my dad my pay to help him pay for his cancer treatment. At home, I would clean him when he messed himself and put out the burning ciggies before the lounge caught on fire. I lived in fear every single night that he would come into my room and touch me again. I felt I was different before all of this, but now I felt it even deeper, and holding on to this secret of Dad's eventually brought me undone. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So, we read that about the situation with you and him. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I suppose that's what I'm here to talk about. It's really it's hard to come to terms with that stuff and then hear it back, even though, you know, like Dad has been gone for like years now. There's just always this sense of eeriness and uncomfortability and unresolved like feeling that sits with me, like that I find it extremely hard to sit and talk about my dad for a long period of time. And the only reason that I'm doing that now is because holding in the secret, like that stuff about my dad, and him touching me inappropriately and you know, doing things that a father shouldn't do, I don't want to talk about that, but I have to, because I know that if I don't deal with that, I can't, you know, expect to sit here and say to people that they should talk about what's going on for them and open up to someone, because I'd be a hypocrite not doing that. And I know that the issues I have with my dad, like I can't ever confront him now. Like he's passed away, and I can't ever tell him that he fucking hurt me, and that's difficult because I don't know how to move on and move forward. So for me, I feel like sitting down and doing this interview is like therapeutic for me. Because anyone that's had that happen to them, whether they were raped or touched inappropriately or anything like that from their dad or a father figure or anybody, like, it isn't your fault. Like, that's not my fault what happened. But you sure do carry around a lot of guilt. Like, you know, what, for a long time I've wondered what sort of person continues living with and caring for their dad after he's, you know, touched you while you're naked and forced himself on you. Like, you know, and I had a lot of people not believe me because of that and what happened. And, you know, I understand now why they didn't believe me, because I was still always on his side. Because I always felt bad for him because he was so lonely. And he had nobody, and I feel like everyone had given up on him, and if I gave up on him, I was just so scared that he would die, and I would feel that guilt if I wasn't there.
Did you talk to anyone about it?
Like, a lot of my best friend Gabby, you know, I don't remember a lot around that time of my life, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know if it was because I was like emotionally disconnected from everything. But I remember I must have told my best friend Gabby and another friend of ours, and then I lost my shit and I ended up in Nexus. My parents took me to Nexus, which is at the John Hunter Hospital for people under the age of 18 who were suicidal. And I got put on antidepressants and I was like a zombie, and I don't really remember that, but I remember my friend said to my mum when I was in hospital, I think her dad's done something, because I was just, like, that stuff really messed with my head. Like, before that I'd only slept with one person, you know, and that was my boyfriend back then, you know, my childhood boyfriend. And after what happened with my dad, anything that had to do with kissing, having sex, anyone touching me, like, made me want to, like, physically be ill. And when I would, you know, have sex after that, I wanted to vomit. And that must, like, now I can see that it's because I was so confused. Like, but when, you know, when my dad came into my room that night, it was like I write in that, it's like he was possessed. It was like he thought I was his ex-partner. Like, it was really strange. Like, I had dark hair back then, and you know, I don't know, and I don't know if that's just, you know, some coping mechanism I've put in place.
And it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it okay. Like, if there's someone watching this tonight and they're in a similar situation, just because of certain circumstances with that particular person, it does not make it okay for that person to touch you inappropriately. It does not make it okay because you feel sorry for them. You know, we are who we are, and we should love and adore our own bodies and give willingly to the people that we want to give it to, not to be taken away from us. You know, so talk to someone. If that's happening in your world, go and talk to someone about it. And, you know, and don't carry the guilt. It is not your fault. You know, like, and unfortunately in life, you know, a lot of these perpetrators do make you feel that way. Like, they actually make you feel guilty about it, and that's why you either allow them to continue because you're too far into it and you don't know what to do, and then you're frightened that they're going to dob you in and saying that, you know, you're a part of it all. Like, they're just so manipulative. So don't allow that to happen. Go and tell someone like you did. You told your best friend, but you yourself don't remember that.
No.
And the other big thing that I was reading in that, and it took me all my might not to cry, like, is the fact that your father had said to you that he wanted you to keep a secret because he had cancer, and that you were going to work at the bakery. You were giving all your wages to him to help him with his cancer treatment, and he lied to you. He did not have cancer at all.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you find that out?
My mum ended up finding out, so it eventually came out that you know, I couldn't keep it in anymore. Like, I went to my mum's house. I was living with Dad, and my mum never liked me living with my dad, you know, because he was just, I don't know. She knew something was going on because I was really acting out. You know, that's when my rebellious stage started. And I think I went to my mum's house one night and I just went nuts, and I just trashed my room, and she's like, "What is going on with you? You're so angry." And I'm like, "Well, it's because my dad has got cancer. You've got no idea. Like, I'm taking care of him and all this stuff." And then Mum ended up finding out, like, there's a lot of things that we don't talk about my dad. It's sort of like an unspoken, it's like taboo or something. We just don't talk about him, and I really think we need to, because there are just so many things that are unclear. But Mum found out that it wasn't true, and even when he got admitted into hospital, where he ended up dying there, he never had any cancers. You know, it wasn't. He was a compulsive liar, and he was so mentally ill that he believed his own lies too. So, you know, I remember feeling like, when I was in addiction, at the end of it, I felt like I was like my dad. I was alone. No one wanted to be with me. All I did was lie. You know, and it's just, I don't know, it's just scary. I don't know, thinking about my dad is weird, because I never wanted, a big reason for not talking about it for so long, like, this happened so many years ago, is because I never wanted to ruin my sister's memories of him. You know, like, my sister Rebecca, she never saw that sort of person in my dad, and I didn't want to ruin that for her.
How old was she when he passed away?
How old was she? Oh, I don't know. I was 18, so she was 22. 22, I think. Yeah. And it was just, I don't know, like, there was no, what's it called when you want to end a chapter? Like, there was no
Closure.
There was no closure. I just get this call that Dad's in hospital and he's fallen over and hit his head and hurt his leg. And when he was in hospital, he came off, you know, he couldn't drink or have his medication. So, like, his body shut down. And it was just this long 11 weeks, I'm pretty sure. He was in hospital on life support, off life support. Like, and it was that, I think that fucked me up more than what actually happened when he touched me. I was so fucking confused. Like, I was so confused because he had this way of being really wonderful and really caring when he was sober. When he got sober, he'd have these little stints and he'd gain weight and he'd be sober and he'd be like fantastic. And then when he was bad, he'd be like, he was like dead on the lounge with a cigarette in his hand and you know, inappropriate and sleazy and needy, and but like he was just lonely. And I don't know, see, even now I like defend him. I don't understand why is that. And you know, I've got a lot of work to do on that stuff. Like, I don't talk about this shit ever. Like, I never talk about my dad. It's just like a no-go zone. So doing this tonight is just like, if something like that has happened to you, just tell somebody. Because it, like, I felt like doing this now is like sort of me taking my power back. I feel
That's
like
awesome.
He's had that power and that hold on me for so long. Like, even in nightmares, and I feel like he was always coming to get me in nightmares, and I'd be scared he could see me. Like, you know how they say your loved one can always see you when they're gone into like the spirit world? I used to be terrified my dad can see me when I was getting dressed, and I would just not want to sleep, and that's a big reason why I took drugs. So I didn't sleep, because I'd seen my dad in my nightmares and in my dreams, and he just fucking haunted me. For so long, just haunted me, and I never got that chance to tell him that he made me one very confused young lady. Like, just really confused. And then I went into, you know, stripping in Sydney because I didn't know how I felt about myself. Like, you know, I've always been very, very insecure, and I don't know if it's because of that or that's just the way I am, but, you know, like, I don't know, but I was confused, and I just wanted to be loved by anybody because I didn't know boundaries, I suppose. As I've always been quite inappropriate as well, you know.
Were you an addict then when you were stripping?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, do you think because you were drug induced that you were able to do that? Like,
No, I went there when I was sober too. Yeah, I was just, maybe, I don't, see, stuff like that I haven't even started working on. So I guess, I don't know. I know that it's me that did that, and I take responsibility for that. But that disgusts me that I did that, but I don't feel like anyone else who does it is disgusting. It's just knowing that I did that. But I was so confused, like, I didn't know what was sacred and what was only meant to be with someone you love, and that not everyone should see your body. I just thought it was just like an ego thing, I guess.
or you being like, what was it, just through discussions I've had before, where it was like you'd lost that respect for your own body because of what had happened.
Yeah.
So therefore, you, like you just touched on it a minute ago, saying that, you know, you had no feelings for it, you had no respect for it. So it was just like you were a thing and you just were willing to give it away.
Yeah, totally.
Because you didn't respect it.
Yeah.
So why should you expect anyone else to respect it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Were you, did you have problems with relationships because of it?
I haven't been in many relationships. Like, I've had 2 serious relationships in my life, one that I'm still currently in. And yeah, I mean, not that I have openly sat, I mean, my partner now knows what's happened with my dad. But, you know, yeah, I have had times when I've been with people intimately and I've freaked out and thought it was my dad. And I've freaked out about that. That hasn't happened for a long time. And it was usually when I was really, really high. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've got daddy issues and relationship stuff and I don't know what my worth is, or I don't know. I'm still, I don't know, I'm still as confused as ever, I suppose, with that stuff. I don't know how to, I don't know how to, accept that, I don't know, that this is my life, I suppose, that's part of my journey. I find that really hard, I guess. It takes me, like, I just feel like a scared little girl, and it makes me really afraid. Because, it's a part of my life I don't like to look at because I'm fucking afraid of it. I guess I'm afraid of my dad, and I'm afraid of talking about him, and I'm afraid of what he makes me feel, because when I think about him I just feel completely broken, and I don't know, like, get disorientated. I don't know what to fucking do or what to say or where to go. It just makes me really, really confused.
And you will go and get some help.
Yeah, well, I have to. You know, I've put it off for a really long time. But,
and
slowly
I think,
but surely I'll get there.
I think the one thing, you know, that is clear to me, and in many of our conversations, you've said to me that you wish you'd had closure, that you were able to say something to your father.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm your dad right now, and you've got that opportunity. What would you say to him?
Well, fuck. I don't know. That I fucking hate you, but I really love you too, and I hate what you did to me, you know. I don't really know, there's so much stuff. I don't know, I guess I would ask, you know what you did and that you hurt me and that I'm so fucking confused because of you. Fuck, I don't know what I'd say. I have so many things that I would want to say. Like, I'd want to hug him and I'd want to hit him and I'd want to tell him that he fucked up my life, and I'd want to tell him that I overcame that, and I'm not sure. See, I'm so torn between I love him and I fucking hate him. Because I love him for what he was to my sisters, you know, like, or what he was to my sister Rebecca. Like, she never saw that side of him, and it's really hard for her to hear that he did that stuff, and she can't imagine him being like that. I wish sometimes that I could have him there, but I can't even sit there and look at a photo of my dad because there's too much stuff there. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know it's very emotional.
It's very hot too.
And it's hard for me to hold it together, let me tell you. because I feel like I've had a very I've been blessed to know you, and I've had a really good and amazing insight into your life, and I just value the fact that you trusted me with your story. Like, I know that we've both spoken about what it's done for you and the great release that you've had because you've been able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact of the matter is that you contacted me. I didn't pursue you. You contacted me, and that you were ready to do that because I know that you had this genuine love to help others. Hang on, excuse me, exit stage left.
Thank you.
Can you believe there's only one tissue left?
Oh, here.
It's
I ripped it off. Here, take that half. It doesn't have anything on it.
Excuse us, everyone, but it's been a very emotional journey with Steph, I can tell you.
And
And
I'm
having
so thankful.
and
that
having
I've met
like
you. Thank you.
your family and like, you know, everyone just being at that place where they want to talk about it because they genuinely want to help other people get through the situation that you got through, and you were brave enough to do it, and you're just such an inspiration to everyone. I'm not talking just young people, but I'm talking about all of us, and I'm sure a lot of you out there watching tonight will agree 100%. The courage that this young woman has had to get on, you know, social media like this and expose her whole life to the world out there. You know, like, I'm ever so grateful, and I know there's been so many people that have contacted me personally and have sent wishes to you, and like all the beautiful messages that you've got.
So kind. It's amazing. It's amazing. Honestly.
And we just want to get this book out there, right? We want to write the book.
And I say start writing it again.
Yeah. So, you know, if there's anyone out there watching, like, please, you know, contact us and oh, look, I've just lost the plot. I'm so sorry.
Me too. Sorry. I have no idea what we've said the last half an hour. In another world.
But life does go on for you, Steph.
Yeah.
So what's going to be your next move in life now? What's the thing that you're looking forward to?
Well, you know, I have so much work I have to do on myself, and that's very clear because all this stuff is still very, I'm still very vulnerable with all this stuff. What's next for me? Oh, I just want to be happy, and I want to be fulfilled, and I want to go to India, and I want to become a yoga teacher, and there's all these wonderful things I want to do with my life, but like, I'm just under a year clean now, and you know, I've got all my weight on me, and I've, you know, put on heaps of weight, and I love and I hate that, but I guess I just want to keep finding who I am, and learn to love who I am, because sometimes there's things I really love about myself, and there's a lot of things I really don't like about myself, and things I have to work on, but I suppose
you know what, we all have that same journey. You know, we don't hold a perfect life. We haven't got all the answers. Yeah. Even like my age now, I haven't got all the answers. I love to say that I have the perfect life, and I am so incredibly happy, but I've got a lot of things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis that, you know, my life opens up lots of different avenues and opportunities, and, you know, because life is something that's ever-changing and organic. Yeah. You get what you put into it. You get out of it what you put into it. And, like, it seems to me that you have got such a great positive attitude that you are going to achieve everything you want to achieve. And I love the fact that you want to be a yoga teacher, because I know that you do yoga, don't you? Like every day you've got a little setup at home and you do your little yoga.
I haven't done it for a few weeks, but that's normal for me. I go into little, and I think it's been a build up of knowing tonight was coming, because we were supposed to do this, video on my dad the first week, I'm pretty sure, and I've been going, nope, and put it off right until the end. I get in these stages where I'm so bloody lazy. I can be so lazy because I love sleeping and stuff. Love sleeping, love eating, love doing nothing. And then I'll get in these stages of just loving life and getting out and doing stuff. And tomorrow I go to Melbourne to, I'm actually sober and able to be there for a friend and go to a funeral with this friend of mine and support her. And I never would have been able to do that if I was using. I'd be way too paranoid to go get a plane and support somebody. So.
And this is your friend that's going through rehab at the moment.
Yeah.
So she's travelling the journey that you've travelled.
Yes, she is. We travelled it together. We were in rehab together, and unfortunately she had a relapse. But we went through that together, and I'm so proud of her. Like I don't know, it's crazy. I never ever thought that I would be nearly 1 year clean. It's insane.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. It's so
just
weird.
Amazing. And your friend that you're with tomorrow, like you're travelling to Melbourne with tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like she's on her journey, so this time now she's doing really well.
Yeah.
So this is her second attempt?
I think it's her third, but third time's a charm. And sometimes we have to go back out there and, everyone's journey is different. She's a beautiful person and, she deserves to get it. I think it's just believing that she deserves it. I think a lot of people in addiction, we settle for what we think we deserve. And, I did that for a really, really long time. I thought the best I could do is, being high every day and having nothing and nothing to be proud of and, being a deceitful person. But I know I deserve more now. But it's a lot of hard work. And,
it is. It's a daily thing, isn't it, really?
Yes.
Because I know we
Yes,
went
it
to a
is.
party and
We did.
and everyone was drinking.
Yes. And I had my water and I found it really hard.
And
Yeah.
I said, right, well, if you can not drink at a party, I'm going to do the same. So it was like, it's teamwork, in that situation. And we had a great time.
We did. It was
You know,
great.
life is great, So stick together and help each other out. And that's what you're doing like with your friend now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's blessed that she's got you
I'm blessed I've got
to
that.
hold her hand and help her through that.
Everybody
so,
needs someone. Totally.
And, the thing is, we've got the 100th show happening on the 4th of December, and I know I've been, getting it in there and whatever, but I would love nothing more than for all you people now that have put up these comments for Steph to come there on that night and meet Steph and let her know exactly how you feel about what she's doing. So 4th of December, 7 p.m. at the Croatian Club at Wickham. Yeah. So obviously for my overseas visitors, that's in Newcastle. So, all you have to do is drop me a line and let me know that you're coming, how many people are coming. It's a free night. We've got lots of entertainment. You can purchase your drinks at the bar. They're opening the club especially for us, so it's a private function. We've got the whole club to ourselves. And it'll just be a fun night. And come and meet the people that have been on the show. And, that's what life's all about. And we're almost out of time.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for the producer to come downstairs and to push the stop button, basically, aren't we?
I can go over and push it if you want.
So we're going to say good night to everyone.
Thank you for listening to my journey without judging me. That's really important for me to say, because this was really hard to do, but also I already feel some sort of weight has been lifted. And, thanks everyone for not judging me on, being really caring and kind to me. And thank you to you. And I'm so lucky the friendship that we have now.
We certainly do.
Yeah.
So, Steph, I know it's been a journey, and I realise, you have totally exposed yourself to all these strangers, and just think out there right now is a young woman that's going through the same thing, a mother, a sister, a brother, a father, a neighbour. You know, what would be your message of hope that you would give that person that's watching right now?
Talk to somebody. Just talk to somebody, and don't suffer in silence, because it is torturous. It is the worst feeling. You're never alone. You are worth it. You can do better. You deserve better. Don't give up, because life can be pretty awesome if you allow it to be.
It can be pretty damn awesome, I reckon. Life is wonderful and we should all be living it with smiles on our faces and love in our hearts. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, you know, tonight I thank every single one of you for watching this series and for being a part of our awesome audience. And, you know, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all on the 4th of December. So it's good night from us, and know in our hearts that you're going to be okay. So it's thumbs up from us. You're going to be okay. Bye for now.
I'm pressing the finish button and nothing's happening. Because it wants to tell you that you've nearly run out of memory.